it's a matter of absolute urgency and necessity that we renationalise our energy sector and put it back on a not-for-profit footing. From the point of view of people who, when we are faced with the sort of energy crisis that we are now witnessing, ordinary people being absolutely crucified by a market-for-profit system, which has no capacity to control the price of heating and energy and hot water that human beings need to sustain themselves through periods like this cold snap that we are now witnessing. And I really just want to bring the argument down to the core human reality that people are facing by reading a couple of emails or messages I received this week. Hi Richard, hope you're well. I'm on prepaid power and I used to top up by €20 a week. Now I'm nearly using €10 a day. God almighty, it's worrying. I'm on invalidity pension and live alone. I've been sick since last Friday with flu, so perhaps put on gas a little more, but not all the time. Really a huge concern for me, and I'm sure for others. Can you flag this with our government? See what we can do to cope. Each gas system is different, works differently. Maybe could get the council to get an expert to see our system and how best we can get the most from it at little cost. Thanks, Richard, and appreciate if you could bring this up. Okay? So an elderly woman on invalidity pension with the flu, terrified at the cost. Here's another woman. Deirdre. Hi Richard, I want to raise an issue which has not really been highlighted during this cold snap. I am living in social housing in Dún Laoghaire. My housing association is Tua Housing and the management company for the apartment complex is Benchmark Properties. These apartments are all tied to one district heating system run by Kaizen Energy. Since the rise in heating costs and daily standard charges, I cannot keep up with the cost of heating. I work full-time and I am a single parent to a teenager with ASD. I earn an okay wage, but I am sitting here ill with flu and freezing because my heating ran out again this morning, and I just do not have the money to top it up. Because I work full-time, I am not entitled to fuel allowance or any other assistance, so have to wait till the 22nd, that's the 22nd of December, to be able to top it up again. Another issue is that the system is tied to the hot water, so if I do not have credit on the heating system, I have no access to hot water. I want to know why this heating company has full control and why tenants cannot shop around for a better deal, or the management company for that matter. You get the drift. I met another man who came in, is actually I think in the same development, a couple of months ago, who told me the shocking fact, an elderly man, that he hasn't had hot water for about a year because he couldn't afford it. Another example, also in our area, Minister, should be interested. I'm a resident in Halliday House in Coolonore, Dún Laoghaire. We recently received communication that our heating prices are going up from 0.233 kilowatt hour to 0.56 kilowatt hour from our provider Kaizen Energy, a staggering 140% increase overnight. This is on top of a €1.08 day being charged as a standing charge. Screenshot attached for reference. Now, how do you expect people to cope with that sort of stuff? And how is it possibly allowed? And of course, the reason it's allowed is because we deregulated and privatised the energy market. So these people can charge what they like. There is absolutely no fairness, no consistency in what people are charged. It is all driven by what can make them a profit. And as a result, elderly, sick, vulnerable people freezing in their homes in this weather, unable even to afford hot water. But of course, it's a very, very different situation for the energy companies. Bord Gáis Energy recorded a 74% rise in profits in the first half of this year, from 22 million to 39.5 million. Its parent company, Centrica, which also owns British Gas, made operating profits of 1.3 billion in the second quarter. We've also seen similarly spectacular rises in the profits of ESB, and Deputy Murphy has already highlighted what's happening with the fossil fuel companies, who've seen an absolutely unprecedented bonanza in the profits that they are enjoying during the period when this cost of living crisis, which is crucifying elderly people, working people on low and middle incomes, pensioners, and so on. An absolute bonanza in profits, and nothing to stop them, because the entire system is operated for profit. Unless the Minister, as the government have been wont to do, want to try and blame all of this on the Ukraine war, the facts tell a different story. The rise in electricity heating costs can be traced directly back to the deregulation and privatisation of the energy market and the removal of the not-for-profit mandate of the ESB, long before the Ukraine war. During the period 1994, which is the period when the deregulation starts, and 2014, average consumer prices in the EU15 increased by 40%. Bad enough for the EU. But in that period, in Ireland, they increased by 267%. That's before any of the recent crises, before any of the recent hikes. Energy prices had gone up in this country by multiples 4 and 5 times what they'd gone up in the rest of Europe. So we go from having the lowest energy prices in Europe, because the ESB has a not-for-profit mandate, to privatisation and deregulation, where it jumps by multiples of the rest of Europe. And God knows what that figure would be if you count in what's happened in the last 2 years. So electricity prices in this country, for example, are 49% higher than they are in France, where over 90% of the market is dominated by state-owned or state-backed entities. So the evidence is absolutely clear. Privatisation and deregulation, so-called competition in the market, has done the exact opposite of what the people who proposed it at the time said it would do. And I was absolutely shocked to hear yourself, Minister, and Minister Ryan, in recent debates, trot out the same rationale, even in the face of all of the evidence that is now confronting us about this, where Eamon Ryan and yourself talked about competition benefiting the consumer in the market. I mean, are you off your head? Where is the evidence that competition has done anything other than fill the pockets of the energy companies with a bonanza of record profits and result in massive hikes in the cost of energy? And to conclude on the point about climate, what is the point in us developing all our own renewable energy to deal with the climate crisis if all of the benefits of that are going to flow to private companies who wish to keep the prices up? We have not seen any benefit in this country from the fact that we are now one of the biggest producers of renewable energy. Not a single benefit. Why has there not been some reduction in the price of electricity now that we're up to about 30% renewable energy? Why? Because private companies, linking it to the wider fossil fuel and energy profiteering of private companies, make sure there is no benefit passed on to ordinary people. Nationalisation is an absolute must and an urgent necessity.